Welcome back to SONGMINE. I brought somebody special to the table tonight, somebody that knows a little bit about music, if not a lot, and that is none other than Mr. Joe Dorgan of El Paso fame, Club 101. The guy's been in the scene, contributing to the scene for the better part of the last 3 decades plus. I say that with all kind of worship, if not bowing to, because I often refer to him as my generation, and that's Generation X, my generation's Wolfman Jack. If not for him, and maybe MTV as well, but if not fortified by him because we could hear it on our own on a local level, we would not be into a lot of this, and you might not have a show called SONGMINE. Anyway, without further ado, I'd like to introduce the man, the myth, the legend himself, El Paso Club 101's own Mr. Joe Dorgan. Hi, Joe.
Hey, how are you? That was a nice introduction.
Thanks for being on the show. No, thank you. Thanks for agreeing to it. Kind of spur of the moment today, but I know we've been kind of talking about doing something for a while, and I hope this isn't the end of that. I hope this is only the beginning of that. In the last 30 plus years, there have been plenty of people that have moved on from El Paso to all over the world, and so they'll know where they used to dance. They know where they used to go, and that all was in your den, known as what started at Mesa Inn, but maybe before that, and fill in there.
Probably started all at the Mesa Inn back in the early 80s, off Mesa Street. What was it called? Stage Door Lounge, but everybody knew it as a Mesa Inn. Then I did a traveling club called Major Tom's because I was a huge Bowie fan. So we would bounce around. One of the places that we played was on the east side called the Lost Iguana, one of my favorite places. And then we made it home downtown in 1989, Club 101. So, and we now have a new 101, not Club 101, but 101 back at the original spot, the Mesa Inn. So I do Saturday nights, the retro night.
Huh. Well, so that's kind of full circle, right?
Yeah, it sure is. Sometimes I walk in and I'm like, wow, I've been in this building, but yeah, I love that space.
Yeah, I remember, now I'll have to admit to you something. When I first heard of Mesa Inn, it was a little bit when I was getting into high school, and I knew of it because I knew my cousin, who was younger than me and obviously had more, liberal parents, you could say, was already going to shows. And the first one that I remember that he was bragging about going was the Smithereens.
Oh wow, that was in the ballroom, 86, sold out show. Oh my gosh.
I heard it was hot as hell in all kinds of ways.
So many stories at that show, but yeah, that was great.
I was lucky enough to go ahead.
We had Book of Love there. There was so many reggae shows. There were some metal shows. Yeah, good times.
If you tell me, is there any kind of story you have about any of those shows, and in particular, maybe the Smithereens show? Is there a story that you can remember that was about Pat Denizio, the late Pat Denizio, or anything like that?
He was a PG story?
Sure. No, it can be R, and I'll just bleep it. What was going on? Tell us. We dig deep here in the SONGMINE.
Oh, he was a cool guy, and everybody loved him. And that Blood and Roses, huge. That was in the early days. So we had these banquet tables that we made as a stage, and we put this huge carpet, and you could tell towards the end that it was just getting ready to give out, but it didn't. So that was really, yeah. And then Pat, he was such a cool guy. We also did a show with him by himself at 101. It was like a living room where we put all these lamps in the middle of the floor. I ran into him in Austin the last time I saw him, and so nice. And he talked about El Paso, so love that guy.
Yeah, I got to see Smithereens a bunch of times after that in Austin. They played so many times, and every time that what was the guy's name? Bosniak, or the guitar player. Every time he soloed for Blood and Roses, he'd walk into the crowd doing a solo. Just throughout the crowd doing the whole solo, and an extended solo. They're a fantastic band. They were a great pop band, great rock band. What brought you to the table? Because what you were playing at Mesa Inn, and then of course at the music that Club 101 was famous for, we're talking about the alternative era of music, alternative music, a lot of synth, especially early on. Give me what led you to that music?
Yeah, I mean, I was playing fraternity parties in 1980. It was like AC/DC, but there was some new wave that's kind of bubbling up. I mean, the Romantics, Oingo Boingo. But I was in Los Angeles and I went to some dance and it was just like a new wave. I'm like, whoa. And I started listening to K-Rock. I was like, wow. And that music magazine out of England, NME, I had it ordered. And then I started spending all my money on records. My brother lived in Austin, and so he would order me stuff at Waterloo Records. And so as soon as these songs were breaking out, like some of these songs that we're going to play, when they were breaking out in the UK and they weren't even in the US. Yeah, my brother lived in Austin, so I would send him a list of what I wanted and he would order them and ship them to me from Waterloo Records. So it was incredible. And then I had a friend who would, there was a show on K-Rock and he would send me a cassette tape like weekly. So we were on it as far as what was going on in the world.
That's huge. It kind of always, there's always kind of, every time, and this is kind of my story too, and I don't know, people that know me, my big band, and if you didn't know from my t-shirt, is Duran Duran. That's my all-time favorite band growing up. But and I'll admit that came from an older sibling. There's always seems to be this older sibling connection. She was, in this case, it was a stepsister of mine, and she was starting to buy music when I was living in Colorado for a little while. With my mom's side of the family. And one day she was playing Rio or something, and that just infected me, and I had to go, and that summer I came out home to El Paso to visit my grandparents and my dad, and I went to Sound Warehouse when it was still over here on Mesa, I think it's a hardware store now across from King's X. When it was in there, I bought the tape. I mean, it was one of those experiences. Again, it had to come from someplace else, and in both our cases, I think it came from having to hear music that was being piped in from another place. Right? There was no organic, other than maybe if you caught something on MTV, and that was only going to be the most commercial of it. Right? That you were going to hear about any of these bands.
Looking out a dirty old window, down below the cars in the city go rushing by. I sit here alone and I wonder why. Friday night and everyone's moving. I can feel the heat, but it's soothing. Heading
Do you remember Agatha's being in such an ugly song? I've heard a rumor from ground control. Oh no, don't say it's true. They got a message from the action man. I'm happy, hope you're happy too. I've loved all I've needed love. Saw the details fall away. The shrieking when nothing is killing. Just pictures of chap girls and synthesis. And I ain't got no money and I ain't got no hands. But I'm hoping to kick because planet is glowing. Ashes to ash and funk to funk it. We know Major Tom's a junkie, strung out in heaven's high, hitting an all-time low. Time and again I tell myself I'll stay clean tonight, but the little green wheels are following me. Oh no, not again. I'm stuck with a valuable friend. I'm happy, hope you're happy too. One flash of light, but no smoking pistol. I've never done good things. I've never done bad things. I never did anything out of the blue. Whoa. Want an axe to break the ice. Wanna come down right now. Ashes to ashes, funk to funk it. We know Major Tom's a junkie, strung out in heaven's high, hitting an on-time road. My mama said to get things done, you better not mess with Major Tom. My mama said to get things done, you better not mess with Major Tom. My mama said to get things done, you better not mess with Major Tom. My mama said to get things done, you better not My mind is filled with thoughts of you. I think about the days of two. I search the room, but you're not there. Your perfume lingers everywhere, but it's only a memory of what our love was going to be. Only a memory, broken bits of you and me. Only a memory, only a memory. sit around and wonder why. Now I feel much too weak to live, and I've got nothing left to give. Now it's only a memory of what our love was going to be. Only a memory, broken bits of you and me. Only a memory, 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 only a memory,
So your brother sent you the CD or sent you albums from Waterloo and Austin. My stepsister was hearing music because we were living in Colorado. That was coming out of Denver. There was MTV had just started, but again, it was just playing the commercial stuff of the alternative scene at that time. How were you getting the deeper cuts?
He would send me these albums, and so I listened to them A and B. I was always looking for that underground hit or song that I liked. I mean, I like the hit that's being released, but I always was looking for that B-side.
Did you know that when you were looking then that did you have designs on DJing already?
I mean, I had a thing for music back when I was in sixth grade, so I, all for the wrong reasons. I saw these two girls across the street playing 45s, KC and the Sunshine Band. Then I had an older friend that turned me on to the Rolling Stones, and then it just took off from there. My brother.
I have to stop you right there, Joe. And I want to hear more about this, but for all the wrong reasons, no, sir, I will have to argue with you. Those are always the right reasons because they're the most common reason. There's a movie. Have you seen that movie, back to the kind of era that we're talking about? Have you seen that movie Sing Street?
No, I haven't, but I will.
Oh my goodness. Songminers, Joe, you got to go check out Sing Street. The whole thing is about this kid growing up who comes in the premise of the movie is it's early 80s. He's grown up in a town in England and his parents are kind of middle class. And they've been sending him to a private school, but they're in Margaret Thatcher's England, and the guy gets laid off, and so he has to downsize the expenses of the family, and he sends this kid to a public school, and it's like night and day and what he's used to. And and he goes across the street. He sees this girl hanging. I'm not giving anything away. He sees this girl dressed like a model of the time, young but standing outside, kind of preening. And he says, "I got to go to talk to that girl." And so she wouldn't give him the time of day until he said he was in a band. And she says, "Well, sing something." And he starts singing, "Aha" or something like that. Anyway, it's fantastic because then he kind of goes through the eras in a brief amount of time. So you see him dressing like OMD, you see him dressing like The Cure, you see him dressing like Spandau Ballet, you see him, like
check that out.
Oh my goodness, man, Sing Street. What was the band that you were requesting from him the most, or maybe the top three?
New Order was coming out. I mean, and which I got to go see at Palmer Auditorium, the only Texas show they did. The Cure. I mean, there's just there was just a bunch of singles. I don't remember specifically artists.
Yeah. So you got to see New Order at Palmer in Austin. What year are we talking about?
Oh, was it 83, 84?
Wow.
Yeah, it was just.
So what album was that? Was it touring? Do you remember?
Power, Corruption, and Lies, I think. Power,
Corruption, Lies. Either that or Low Life. One of those two was
yeah.
was going to be my guess. Wow. That's quite a badge of honor in the SONGMINE. That's quite a badge of honor to me. I got to see them since, but I never got to see them with Peter Hook. I have since seen Peter Hook in The Light separately, but that's a whole other Vegas kind of show. Have you seen Peter Hook in The Light?
No, I'd like to see that. I see it's touring, so I got to check that out.
You got to check it out. The only thing I'll tell you is that it's really interesting. Because he's now the leader of this band, he's taken liberties, and he doesn't always play bass. Now he's kind of running around, and he's got another guy doing it. It's not to a track, but he kind of dual basses it because he has, and that's fair because a lot of those New Order lines, there's got to be some overdubbing. It's not all, he couldn't be playing both those things at the same time, or at least maybe one's on a keyboard or something like that. What do you know about the Romantic movement, or what are the bands that came out of there? Or did you have a concept of it at the time, or since?
Well, yeah, I definitely Duran Duran influenced a lot of bands. I mean, and then local bands were real into the new romantic scene too. So yeah.
One of the things that came out of that movement was the style of things, right? The clothes, a lot of, especially early on, if you want, and people give me a hard time on this show because I mentioned Duran Duran so much, but if you want a good example of what that style was, go watch the Planet Earth video, right? I mean, it almost looked like pirates. I was one of the guys in this small town called Loveland, Colorado, north of Denver, big jock town. I was pretty secure in my beliefs and my ways, if you know what I'm saying, at that time. So I didn't care. But I'm sure my parents were a little concerned when I had a bunch of guys with makeup on my walls, and it wasn't like Kiss where it was scary. It was like they were preening to be pretty, I'm sure there was a lot of concern with my parents, but my mom used to work for Mary Kay on the side, long story, and I would steal her eyeliners. And so what was the scene like here? Did you ever dive into that stuff, into the gender bender, at least with the makeup, the Nick Rhodes metrosexual stuff? He's considered the first metrosexual. I don't know if he named himself that, but.
Who's that?
Nick Rhodes.
Oh, wow. When we started playing at the Lost Iguana, the owner's like, hey, there's a bunch of kids, because we were just trying to do a college night and they want to come in. These kids were so cool. And the fashion was incredible. There were guys wearing skirts, guys going into the girls' bathroom, girls going into the guys' bathroom. They were dressing so cool.
know since then, for all kinds of reasons, we want to broaden, we want to try other things. But at that time, how dogmatic was the music you were playing at Mesa and then Club 101? I mean, like, what would people like leave the dance floor, and what would people like run to the dance floor for?
We were so full of attitude. You know, we even said that if you don't have an attitude, we'll give you one. So we were really trying not to play mainstream music. I mean, it was just, yeah, probably if you were coming in town from the holidays, you probably never heard this record, but we'd always say, yeah, we have, even if we didn't, but we'd find it. But yeah, there was a lot of people coming in from all over, you know, back from the holidays, you know, turning us on to new music. It was us, all of us. Yeah. It wasn't me.
That was, I'll be honest, at that time, yeah, man, you were quite to me, you were a celebrity. Not that you aren't now, but back then it was like, who knew Joe? If you knew Joe, you know, you were Joe. Hey, Joe. I know Joe. You gonna get me into the show, Joe? I know Joe. Can I get in the show? Can I? You know, I mean, there were people outside the line saying Joe said it was cool. They might have been lying. It might have been us. Joe, hey, but you know, oh, we're at capacity. You can't come in. But Joe said, you know, it was you were the man.
Yeah, some people said that I was unapproachable. You know, you're playing to a packed house dance floor, you have like 3 minutes to pick the next song. It's so much easier now, you know. I can,
right.
But back then, I mean, like people are wanting to talk to you for a while, and you can bump the turntable.
You know. I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
And then so it was just yeah, it's a lot easier now with USB.
What would you say of those bands of, let's say, and I'll put a time limit on it, era, let's call it like 78 to, and I'll go as far as to say 84. If you can kind of put your mind in those kind of bands, you're talking about early New Order, early Duran Duran, Bauhaus had already broken up by then, by 83. But the bands that we're talking about on the show would be like Culture Club, Duran Duran, Spandau Ballet, Flock of Seagulls. I mean, these were all bands that are so taken for granted and made fun of even sometimes. And I say less so now, but definitely over the 20 years prior, you had to kind of call it a guilty pleasure to say that you still listen to some of these bands. What would you say is the band that you're going to take, or the handful of bands, name of that era that are indispensable?
Duran Duran is up there. You know, I watched that documentary, and they were taken for granted for a while. They just kept putting out hits after hits. Yeah, The Cure, New Order. I love Depeche Mode. They get darker and darker. So some of these groups, I think they were getting better.
You named your club after the Depeche Mode tour / album, did you?
That's what a lot of people say. So I'm like, yep, that's it.
Oh, well, there's a road called 101, but they named it after that. So is it indirect, or was it an influence at all? Because if you didn't, then the timing was perfect, because I think you debuted shortly after that album came out, and that was a popular album.
Yeah, it was after The Highway, but you know, we were on San Francisco Street. We thought of Club Alcatraz, all these different San Francisco things, and we just wanted to keep it simple, and so we came up with Club 101.
Yeah, I mean, you did use the road sign, which I guess I just figured the timing was so perfect that, you know, and you played a lot of Depeche Mode, and the people that you're talking about, you love Depeche Mode. The people you were talking about walked in all looking like Depeche Mode, you know, so it seemed like that's what seemed
Absolutely.
Obvious and natural. Yeah.
Words like violence break the silence. Come
Another point that and I'm going to reference it because they bring it up in the movie Sing Street about this era, is that they thought of themselves they called themselves, I don't know if this is in hindsight, or at the time or in hindsight, but they called themselves futurists. And I thought that was really interesting to call themselves futurists because it sounds really appropriate. Nothing that they were doing sounded like anything else. And it sounded like they wanted, or they had an aspiration towards the future. They wanted to make the future. They were tired of the Eric Clapton and the AOR radio.
Yeah, I got to see that movie. That's a good description.
Yeah. What about that sound? What about that sound that you dug so much? Was it about the synthesizer, or was it the attitude? What was it?
The attitude. Peter Hook's bass. There was a period where there was just a lot of great guitar music that you could dance to. Yeah. Then the electronic, and then the fashion was very cool. Thompson Twins. I love the Talking Heads.
Yeah, Talking Heads. It's interesting that there's a producer. I think his name is Alex Sadkin, I believe is his name. He there's a through line for a lot of these bands that we're mentioning that he would produce. I think he produced Duran Duran up through the Is There Something I Should Know era. But he's responsible for that early Thompson Twins stuff. He's responsible for putting a lot of these sounds together, which was an incorporation of what, disco and rock, basically. It's dancey, like you described, dancey guitar music.
Yeah.
Was there something to the simplicity to you that you appreciated? And because of the melodies that New Order would come up with and the Cure would come up with, they weren't something that you had to go to, music school to learn or to come up with necessarily, but gorgeous.
Yeah. And the lyrics, they really, I think they hit a chord with all of us. The Smiths. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it interesting that Morrissey was as a music critic before he had a band? I wonder if that was ever something that he was wary about, because one of the things that I, professionally speaking, whenever and this is always when I've tried to have bands, it's always been around the same time I was working in a media job. And it was always like, well, I guess I can play my band. You know what I mean? Why not? Right. So I wonder if that's how he, because it put him in a perfect position to be talked about immediately. But, he had the goods. He had Johnny Marr. It was a great band.
Never got to see him. Wow.
Yeah, me neither. I think that's definitely would be on my bucket list if I could ever again. And now we lost Mr. Rourke, the bass player, a couple of years ago. So let's, what a shame. All these bands that could have, but didn't for stupid reasons. And now one of members dead, and it just seems like such a shame. I think the first one I can think of right off the top of my head is the Smiths. I had another one at the tip of my tongue as well, but the Clash. Oh my God. Yeah. How what a shame that was. They were walking around together forever. Just, friends even.
Yeah, they were friends.
driving hands push against the tracks. Boys, it's too late to wonder why you're stranded. Somehow it seems the same. Beware, here comes a quiet life again. last, I'm going to meet the one I love. La-di-da, la-di-da. No, mama, let me go. I thought that if you had an acoustic guitar, then it meant that you were a protest singer. Oh, I can smile about it now, but at the time it was terrible. No, mama, let me go. No, 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 no.
One of the interesting phenomena is that right immediately after the 80s, there were 80s nights. I remember seeing our friend Juliana in a club in Austin in 1992 or 1 at an 80s night. So, what do you think it's going? And will it die? Can it die?
I thought it would, and I remember one of the guys from Depeche Mode said the movement has lasted longer than the 80s. Yeah, I don't think it'll ever die. I mean, I've just seen, like kids who grew up on stepping out. They're like, you influenced our music taste. Now their kids are coming to retro night, and sometimes they come together, and I mean, they're requesting the most cutting edge retro songs. It's cool. It's very cool. I don't think this music will ever go away. It's timeless.
I agree, and I think there's something to the idea of the melodic nature of it. The lyrics, oftentimes, even if they're dark, even if they're sad, they're in the romantic category. There's a romanticism to that darkness, for sure, that Morrissey's famous for. That all these, Depeche Mode you were talking about is so famous for. It seemed to come back in spurts. I mentioned it just briefly about the Killers, and this was in the early 2000s when they were, and Franz Ferdinand, they were one of among the first bands, I think, that were proudly wearing these Duran Duran, Depeche Mode influences on their sleeve with pride, and they made huge careers with that. I think they've, we haven't heard much from Franz Ferdinand, and the Killers have kind of morphed into a Bruce Springsteen era thing, but nonetheless, quite influenced by these bands. By the way, do you know where the Killers got their name? Quiz for the SONGMINErs.
I do not.
New Order had a record called Get Ready in the early 2000s, and there was a video for the song Crystal. There's a fictional band that's playing air guitaring that song, and on the drum head they had called themselves the Killers. Anyway.
Yeah,
that's the kind of geek stuff that I know too much about.
I love that video. Yeah,
yeah. That's a band that I think has had great records since the 80s. The 2000s showed some great work.
What to say, you don't care anyway. don't know what to say. You don't care anyway. I'm a man in a rage with that girl I betrayed. Here comes love, it's like honey. You can't buy it with money. You're not alone anymore. You shut me to the core. You shut me to the core.
Tell me to hold tight, but I've been waiting
if there's anybody out there watching. Cheers to my cruel world people. But there's a whole festival dedicated to the music Joe Dorgan used to rock here in El Paso before anybody else. I'm really, really, really proud to consider you a friend. I feel like it's a badge of honor to know to this day that I can reference you and say where my taste came from. So thank you for that.
Likewise.
Thank you for coming on the show. Yeah, I appreciate it. And I do hope that there is a niche that we can, in one way or another, both work together at some points or separately, but towards the same end. Because I feel like with a show like this, with what you've done, what you're continuing to do, what you always do, I think the market for bringing some of these concerts back into town can be made again if we just get these people on the radio more. If we get them, we can see that they're being played on, logged on
SONGMINE.
on SoundScan. Yeah, on SONGMINE. Yeah, but SoundScan where they. Because I have to, when I play music on SONGMINE and on the radio, I have to log that stuff. And I'm figuring in my mind, I'm kind of like covertly telling them, hey, we got people here that want to hear this. Come on, I'm trying to make a case for that. And that's all because I grew up on your music. So thank you.
Well, that's what a lot of people ask me. Well, how did you do all those shows? And, I could say Club 101 and Mesa, but really it was stepping out. I mean, it was such a vehicle. I mean, it crushed the commercial stations. There was the Birch rating where we were number one by 50% from 8 to 12, and not just kids, it was 18 to 34. The best example is I started playing this group called the Soup Dragons. Nobody ever heard of them. In 9 weeks, I had a sold out show at 101. I slam dunked so many shows. So the key to me is still radio. There's so many cool groups that, you talk about Juliana. Yeah, I saw them 4 times. I mean, Fontaine's DC, there's so many great groups. They're just passing through here, but I mean, they don't make sense on regular radio. Just needs that vehicle. SONGMINE. Do it.
Well, we need a bunch of things. I hope SONGMINE, hopefully that's that can be a contributor. I'm trying to convince them to expand. We'll see. This is a new year. This whole project was started from I decided to take a master's, and I didn't know what I was going to do a project on. And I thought, well, what's the one thing that everybody's complained about El Paso for the last 30 years? What can I do about that? And what's my background already? And what would be fun? You know what I mean? This is the fact that I've got you on this show. And I mean, it's like, it's simple, but I can pinch myself, because what I would be even the bigger coup is if we have, and I do believe we've had, because I go to Sound Decay Records down here, big, and those guys are big lovers of you. I go down there and I hear of these bands, and I've seen a couple of these bands, and it's unmistakable the sounds that they're using are from the new romantic post-punk synthesizer, and in a lot of cases they don't even know that they're doing those sounds. You know what I mean? It's funny. It's great, but it's naive in a lot of ways, and it's easy to make fun of. But at least they're doing that.
Absolutely. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing.
Move like a magpie with your twisted hard lies. How does it feel like? I shone like silver, no loss of faith. Once more I'm left on my own, and I try not to screw up my whole life. And my patience is wearing thin. I'll never know where it began. Soon I will give in, although I try to understand. To the poison within, I'll never make it to the end.
what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Absolutely. Absolutely. Keep doing what you're doing. 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 Keep doing what you're doing.
Don't be afraid of your freedom. I'm free to do what I want any old time. I said I'm free to do what I want any old time. I say love me, hold me, love me, hold me, 'cause I'm free to do what I want any old time. I'm free to be who I choose any old time. I say love me, hold me, love me, hold me, 'cause I'm free. I say love me, hold me, love me, hold me, 'cause I'm free to do what I want, to be what I want any old time. I'm free to be who I choose, to get my blues any old time. I say love me, hold me, love me, hold me, 'cause I'm free.
Do you hear what the man say? These are the words me hear from my granddaddy. Come, these are the words me hear from my granddaddy. He said nothing in this world like when a man know him free. Free from the lock, I say free from the key. Free like a butterfly, free like a bee. These are the words me hear from my granddaddy. Said it's nice to be free, nice to be free. Free from the lock, I say free from the key. Don't be afraid of your freedom.
'Cause I'm free to do what I want any old time. 'Cause I'm free to do what I want any old time.
Don't be afraid of your freedom.
I said I'm free to do what I want, to be what I want any old time. I said I'm free to be what I choose, to get my blues any old time. 'Cause I'm free.
I know your life is well covered in some other places, but tell me something else about yourself that we should know about, that maybe somebody would be surprised to know about Joe Dorgan and what led him to having such a taste in music and bringing it to the table in El Paso. Something that might have influenced your taste in music. Like, I'll tell you right now, my mom was into disco and my dad was into Zeppelin and those bands. I feel like that's the perfect reason why I like Duran Duran.
Yeah, I would walk to Montwood Theater. I saw Saturday Night Fever about 13 times. I mean, I love the disco era.
Right.
That was.
Would you have been able to admit that you liked Saturday Night Fever in 1992 to anybody that would walk in? Was that something you were cool with admitting?
I know the Mason had a trash disco night. We had the Village People at 101 in the 90s, but horrible turnout. It was so weird. But
Wow.
in high school, I was on the basketball team, very few white guys, so I was influenced by Earth, Wind, and Fire, Commodores, Confunction stuff. So I liked the funk music that came out. So people think that I drive around and I listen to the 80s music. I'm tuning into new music. I want to be fed new music all the time. So
I agree.
I mean, I do
agree.
like
That's the balance.
but I do like to appreciate the music of the past. Or it's still great music. Yeah, Duran Duran, all of those groups.
One of the reasons I wanted to do a show like SONGMINE was because, and I was explaining it on another episode, is that, you know, besides yourself, and and we haven't even gotten into the idea, you had a radio show for so long called Steppin' Out, which was a big way that the whole town that didn't go, they couldn't get into Club 101. That was maybe 12, right? Or couldn't get into Mesa Inn, or whenever you were throwing just a party, couldn't go, but they were getting the music because you had a radio show. When there was no longer Steppin' Out, I feel like El Paso, particular this area of the country, but El Paso as a market, lost a lot of the touring acts that could have come because there wasn't a place to play their music, wasn't a place to put it out there, wasn't a place to buy it. The stores started closing even before MP3s got big. There are people that grew up on Joe Dorgan's music that are still here, probably in one way or another, whether they went to your clubs or they heard you on the radio. That there's a market that's not getting that music and hasn't got it for 30 years. So there's possibilities that if they weren't, that until streaming came along or you're not looking for it, you don't know the bands that got influenced by these guys. You don't know the bands that got influenced by Duran Duran. I went to the Cruel World Festival a couple of times now. They've had 3. This last one, they actually brought in bands that are big now that were influenced by The Cure, that were influenced by New Order, by Duran Duran, since The Killers, you know, a band like Interpol, a band like Placebo.
Get 'em to swap our places, be running up that road.
One of the things that I'm having fun with in this journey of music as a music consumer, I've gotten back into vinyl. As you can tell, I've got it all around me. I bet you've got a whole lot of singles on 45s being a DJ, don't you?
I have a lot of vinyl.
You get the original copies of those records, but you play them now on something that can handle the bass, that can handle that, other than your ears or your ear pods, and you can play it loud. That is a whole other subject. It's a fun thing. It's almost like discovering it again in a different way. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I love the music, and I love that you have been part of the idea. I love having met and become friends with you, knowing that it was such a big part of my life. Joe Dorgan, thanks for being on SONGMINE.
Thank you.
I could geek out with you forever, sir.
Well, I mean, Paul Castro was from KXCR, and yeah, he was talking about his students maybe doing something live at 101. I go, yeah, let's do it. So. And he raved about you, so that was cool.
They're letting me experiment is what they're letting me do. And I say letting me is because I think that they're going, well, look, this guy can do it. Let's do stuff that might fail. Let's try stuff. I think it's kind of a perfect combination, so we'll see. Thanks for hanging with us in the mine. ktep.org/songmine. Donate if you can at the top right-hand corner. For the new and the experienced miner, we think you dig what we're doing, so we're going to keep picking away. SONGMINE.
The only thing we have to fear is